We've been rife with technical difficulties this morning. I am back again after failing to unmute my mic, and I appreciate it. Yes, I did a Leonardo DiCaprio trailer scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but nothing can dampen my enthusiasm for what I found on my timeline this morning, because as we know, last week, CJ Stroud, not much of a participant in OTAs. There he is standing, watching while Keaton Slovis and Davis Mills take all of the throwing reps and 7-on-7 and team. And we were wondering as the week went on, what the hell's going on with CJ Stroud? It's weird that he would be there and not throwing, but the team would not give any specific answers about it whatsoever. Said, hey, everybody's on their same schedule. And then on Friday, Aaron Wilson reports Texans star quarterback CJ Stroud isn't throwing at practice as a precautionary measure. Stroud is dealing with a minor shoulder muscle issue per league sources. It isn't regarded as a long-term issue, and Stroud could return to increased activity at practice as soon as next week as the team took caution with a former NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Some of you, including myself, freak the hell out about anything involving any kind of injury with a Houston athlete these days. And we can be forgiven because of the situation we had with Christian Harris last year, where it was no big deal on day one of training camp. And then he ended up taking his first snaps in December. When Kyle Tucker has it's just a bruise. It's broken. Framber, that's just no big deal. Typical hand issues. It's broken. So when a team is opaque about things, I tend to get a little bit nervous, and I will excuse myself and anybody else who does. But then, lo and behold, last night at DreamCon, I'll explain what DreamCon is in a minute. I had no idea what it was, but here's CJ Stroud at DreamCon, just casually shooting some threes. This next one, it looked like his toe was on the line, but I went and watched the replay, and the call was upheld. His toe was behind the line, so it was there, right there. Toe was behind the line. He's dialed in. He's paying attention to detail. So likely they were just taking precautionary measures, as Aaron Wilson said, because he had a little shoulder soreness or anything. As I said in my video yesterday, where I realized full well that I was overreacting, and yet understandably so, because this vast and long history of the team saying, hey, it's no big deal. When teams start telling you that it's no big deal, to me, it's the same as if I were a young man and I had a girlfriend who desperately didn't want me to see her texts. Like, why is your phone always face down on the table? What? There's something going on here. Last year, I caught you texting Christian Harris without my knowledge, and now you're texting CJ Stroud without my knowledge. So I'm going to be nervous about it. This is the reason that you are here on this earth, is because long ago on the savannah, one of your ancestors said, I don't like the looks of that lion over there. And meanwhile, that dummy Grok said, no, I'd say Grog. Grok is the AI thing, right? Grog, let's call him Grog. Grog is like, that lion's no big deal. And Grog's lineage was snuffed out that day. I care about your descendants, and I want your lineage to continue. So always have your head on a swivel. We got a negative bias for a reason. It served us well through the generations. But this is likely them just, taking it easy, taking their time, just like a pitcher in spring training. Just roll into this, and we don't need to tempt fate or anything. If CJ was out there shooting threes and he shouldn't have been, then I'll be disappointed in him, and I'll be hyperreactionary about that next week. But I'm guessing that this means we're probably going to see CJ Stroud at some point during OTAs, which is cool because I'm watching guys like Jared Wayne and Jalen Noel and all these other guys make these great plays in practice. I'd like to see CJ Stroud being the one who's thrown to him. And we all understand why. What is DreamCon, and why was CJ there? Some kind of gaming streaming convention. I'll let Mark Phillips, the CEO of DreamCon, tell you exactly what it is. This will clear everything right up.
See, that's what I don't want people to think. DreamCon is everything. Like, it's everything. If you got a dream, you really should be at DreamCon. Like, it's not an anime convention, and it's not a gaming convention.
If you have a dream, you should have been there last night.
It's not just a pop culture convention. It's literally everything in one. If you got a dream, whatever dream you're going after, if it's anime, yes, there are people who dress up like anime. Yes, there's people that dress like video games. Yes, there's niggas there. It's all types of, it's everything there. Like, it's you know what I'm saying? It's beautiful women there as well.
Okay, I'm going to leave that one alone. So some kind of streaming and gaming convention. Good point here by Abigail. The shooting motion in basketball is one of his warm-ups for throwing the football. So there you go. This is an extended warm-up into the next round of crucial and vital OTAs. On a minor note, one of the notes out of OTAs that I'm intrigued by is just how much shuffling around of the offensive line there is. Because as I said yesterday in my hyper-reactionary video, boom, my irrationally hyper-reactionary video, we should be far more concerned about whether or not the offensive line and the tight ends can protect CJ Stroud's shoulders, kidneys, vital organs, vertebrae, everything else. Brain tends to be a pretty vital one. Going back to Grok on the Savannah, tiny brain, Grog on the Savannah. There's going to be a whole lot of shuffling. We're not going to know much about this. Just to kind of shed a light. This is to explain myself and where I stand on stuff like this when there's injuries to a CJ Stroud or a Framber Valdez or a Christian Harris and whoever else. I saw Sarge, who works his butt off on social media, mention something about in general, but I saw him on social media, mentioned something about a bunch of fake stories about CJ Stroud last week. And I'm not on X that much. So I asked him, like, what fake stories did I miss? And he said that his shoulder was so bad that he was struggling to lift his arm, and that's why he was not throwing. I'm glad I didn't see that fake news or whatever it was. And just to explain it, I told Sarge, my policy is that I always worry about any kind of injury when the team is being opaque about them, a la Christian Harris, while still recognizing that it usually does end up being no big deal. The variable with CJ that makes me a little bit more stressed out about it is that he's had shoulder injuries going back to Ohio State, then his rookie year, and then whatever he had last year. And he's played through them. He's done, I mean, like, nobody's ever going to question CJ Stroud's toughness by a long shot. But there's only so much you can do if you got a bum shoulder as a quarterback, and or even if it's not your non-throwing shoulder, like it was with not Gardner Minshew. What's his name? Baker Mayfield up there in Cleveland, his rookie year, his non-throwing shoulder was separated, but it was a really bad one. And it was all kinds of messed up. So I'll worry about it. Let's see. Everyone relax. I will not relax, Texans fan. Did you not see the thumbnail to this? Never. Found out what DreamCon is while going to the Astros game yesterday. Lots of characters walking around. So it's like a big Star Wars thing. Real quick note, that reminds me, since we're talking about conventions, I drove past a billboard yesterday and it was William Shatner, R.I.P. So I don't even remember what the message was, but Mike Meltzer and I interviewed William Shatner back in the day because he was in town for some kind of a Star Trek convention. And he gave one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard, which is we were asking about like all these different things he's done in his career, because it's not just acting. He's done a lot of really experimental and weird stuff. But he was thriving well into his 70s or 80s, however old he was at the time. And he said, I go by the rule that if I'm asked to do something and I'm a little uncomfortable about it, or it's outside my comfort zone or my wheelhouse, I always say yes. And sometimes it's awful and sometimes it's great, but I keep growing that way. And he stays curious and keeps testing himself as he gets older. So there we go. Oh, he's not dead. Okay, good. Are you sure about that? I'm not going to waste time. I'll Google that afterwards. All right, I'm going to get running. I got to do an OTA wrap up at some point. I'm trying to try to get my microphone actually working and operating so I don't waste 10 minutes of energy saying exactly what I just said. Fake news. This is going back to what Sarge said. Yeah, Seth said Shatner was dead. Has been for years. That's the fake news that you guys heard here this morning. Thank God. I got to start checking I got to be sure I check these more often. I don't know why. Usually anymore, I don't realize that people have died until about 3 years after they die. I don't get my E! Entertainment Weekly magazine anymore. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you a little bit later.